Hey, Everyday Athlete Podcast Network listeners. Thanks for joining me on the weekly Fireside Chat. My name is Jason Bahamundi. I am your host. And today we're going to be talking to Jason O'Donnell about the news that he received about his child having cancer. And it's going to be a touching conversation, but also uplifting. Jason is partnered with and working with the Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation to help raise funds, as you can imagine, to eradicate cancer in children. And it's a super important conversation, so I hope you'll stick with us the whole way through. Before I bring Jason on, let me remind you, and I know you hear it on every podcast, but it is important. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network on your favorite podcast platform. Look, we don't control what Spotify and Apple do, which is why it's important for you to like these podcast episodes that we put out, comment on Spotify if you listen there, share them with your family, friends, your barista, your Uber driver, your checkout clerk at your grocery store. I don't care who you're sharing with, just keep sharing it because it really helps us to get great guests and great stories like Jason's onto the show. So without any more rambling from me, let's get Jason on the show and let's have a great conversation. Jason, how are you?
Hey, Jason, great name, by the way.
Isn't it awesome?
It is. It is. So easy to remember.
I tell you what, we certainly won't have any issues throughout the conversation knowing that we just use the same name.
Yep.
You know what's going to happen, though? There are going to be people in the audience that are going to be like, which one is talking? Which one is the Jason talking now? As we go along. So we do an icebreaker question on all of our shows, and we're gonna break the ice because my gut tells me we're gonna get into heavy conversation here, and I'm an emotional person, and so I'm gonna start this off with a laugh, hopefully, and then we'll go from there.
I like it.
I am a born and raised New Yorker, and so the question I ask everybody who comes on our show is pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
Oh, no way, man! Come on, seriously. It belongs on a tree. No, man, you gotta keep it old school with the pepperoni and sausage.
That's it. So you can stay on the show. We're clear. We're clear. We can let everybody know Jason's on. I actually just did a Food Fight Friday for one of our sponsors last week, and the question was best pizza toppings. And even though I don't eat meat anymore, pepperoni was number 2. Plain cheese slice was number 1. But you hit the nail on the head.
There we go. I'm in. Keep me along.
Let's get started in the conversation. I'm really interested in your journey mentally, but I would also ask physically about this journey because, stress has an impact on us just, further beyond the mental. It does impact us physically. And then obviously getting into movement with the Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation as well. So if you don't mind, take us through your thinking and your family's thinking when you find out that your child has cancer.
Yeah. It's when you look back at that time, I don't think you remember the feeling because you lose feeling, you lose emotion, you lose touch. I was a dad. I've never had a kid before. I barely held one before my son, Brody. And when you find out your kid's not doing well and you can't figure out why, your mind just goes to the worst places. And your whole thing is a fight for your child. And, Brody was 11 months old, had a head tilt that they went to physical therapy, thought it was rigor mortis or whatever it was, the stretching for the muscles. We thought it was just all these different things, changing formulas. And then you would never think it's cancer. And you keep going back to doctors and sent back and go to the next doctor and the next. So you start off before you even find out you have cancer of this confusion, like this cloudiness of like, what's going on? And I can't help my kid, And so that's the first emotion I think we felt as a family is like, you almost feel like you don't know what to do, now.
You said Brody was 11 months old, and it made me think almost immediately, if you had experience with cancer in your family prior to this?
Nothing. And that's the craziest thing was there's nothing. Both my wife and I are healthy, none of this stuff. And so you immediately first think, let's change the formula. Let's do all this stuff, let's go to the small checklist. And that's what our pediatrician did. He was in the business for 40 years as a pediatrician. His last thing was ever to recommend it's cancer.
Right.
And it wasn't till we finally, I think, our 5th visit to Children's Hospital, where finally we just said we need to get him admitted and figure out what's wrong. And they start with the stomach, and that wasn't a problem. And then they start to the next thing, and they mention a CT, and then they start mentioning MRIs, and you start mentioning this, and you're like, why? It isn't just a formula thing. Let's get him back out here. And that's when it kind of, the dark cloud kind of switches over of like, this is something deeper.
So I will preface this question with my experience. I was 22 years old. My parents had come to Oswego, New York, which is where I went to college, and it's graduation weekend. Happiness, joy. I made it through college in 4 years. My parents wouldn't have to spend on a 5th year, like first kid in the family to graduate college, like super celebratory moment. And that weekend, they told me that my father had cancer, throat cancer. And maybe it's naivete at that age. When you're 21, 22 years old, you think, yeah, you get through it all. No big deal. Like, it's cancer. Let me go have a beer with my fraternity brothers.
Nothing can stop you.
Yeah. Like it doesn't impact you.
Yeah.
And so the question I'm going to ask you is, as they're reading you or going through all these, well, check this, check that, check this. What was the mindset like from the beginning when there was something that might be wrong with your child through this process to the, it is cancer? Like, were you in that state of denial? Like, it'll be fine. Like this, like, I don't know what this is, but it'll be fine. And then progressing through to the diagnosis.
100%. I'm a very positive person in general. So I always try to find the positivity behind things. We're going to get through this, but I think that you don't connect something, how bad something could be. You're almost chasing the small tasks. You're almost assuming the small things, which 99% of the time it really is.
Right.
Something. So that was the big thing where it was, we've never had anyone in the family with cancer. We've never understood this. We never really had it. Where you expect your son at 11 months old to have it. No. So when they do break the news to you, you almost don't know what to think except shut down. And that's the easiest thing to do, is to shut down. My wife crawled underneath the table and put a blanket over. I didn't even know what to start with, except I know I had to talk to somebody, talk to a nurse. And so, I think that was the thing, that nothing prepares you for that, because it's not a directional plan, on there, but you have to step up.
Right.
11-month-old baby can't care for themselves. And that's the thing about, the Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation that we're with, is like, children don't have a voice. Someone needs to be a voice. When you're a parent, if you give up, you do that, there's not an option for this child to go speak for themselves. So you almost have to get over your own problem. And it's really tough mentally to talk yourself through something when your emotions take over. And by the way, emotions were a good thing, because it showed reality that this is serious. The question is, what do we do? And the answer's not there. You just know you got a diagnosis. And, they broke the news to us. He was in PICU because of throwing up so bad. And this young doctor, I remember, grabbed my wife and I in the elevator going to get food, and he was shaking. I was like, oh, come on, what's the big deal, man? Like, we gotta, let's get out of here. We got the kid here for like 2 days. I gotta get back to work, and I remember him shaking. And I remember him not wanting to look me in the eye. And I remember him really nervous. And when he sat us down, he walked us in a room and said, here's your oncologist, here's your brain surgeon, here's the PICU team.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah.
So you're in this elevator with this doctor, with your doctor. He's not talking to you because he's clearly he has something to say.
Yep.
But he needs support.
Yeah.
To make this news. And the moment you walk into this room and he starts pointing to the oncologist, does it register that at that moment? You
said oncologist? Like, that's the first thing that goes to your mind. And why are all these people in this room?
Right.
And it was literally from going to get a burrito downstairs
at
the hospital, to an awkward elevator ride, to this is your oncologist. And I was always thinking about, how do they break the news to people? How do they tell you this? And I think the way they do that is with a support team of a solution plan, so that you feel comfortable. But I think they almost want to rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
In the sense of, here it is. So when they say this, your oncologist, you stop and said, what do you mean? And that's when it clicks, and they immediately tell you, your son has cancer. We found a 2-inch by 2-inch tumor on his brain, and you can see it up there. I mean, that's literally how it's broken to you when you're in this room. And it's like, what? Like, you almost want them to be gentle, like, well, here's some spreadsheets. But looking back, I understand why they did that, because the emotional connection and disconnect is on there. You still have a child that's in a PICU right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not well. We have to get something going. And their action plan has to happen immediately.
Yeah.
And so I see why they do it, but looking back at it, it's like, wish they had flashcards. I don't know. But, it's just, it was really a interesting way when you talked about like that emotional point, because your emotions don't catch up to the situation yet.
Right.
My
sister is watching us on Facebook. And so obviously she's dealt with my father being diagnosed, and she is a parent as well to my nephew, to her son, my nephew. And, she's already in tears, like just getting the information that you're delivering. I'm a person who uses humor to cover his trauma.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to put myself in your position. I do not have children, and I'm trying to put myself in your position when you're in that room and they're like, here's your oncologist, here's an image of your son's brain with a 2x2 tumor. And my first thought was, Jason must have gone numb. My second thought was, how would I have handled that? Because I handle all of my trauma with humor. I would have tried to crack a joke and been like, this isn't what they do in Grey's Anatomy, man. Like, give me something.
Right? Protection mechanism. It protects you from the reality of it, but with the joke, it's a comfort.
Yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm. How do you deal with this kind of stuff in the immediate notification?
Yeah.
And then as you start to process, like, how are you personally dealing with this stuff?
Like I said, my wife literally went under a pillow or a blanket and like hit under the table. Like, if I remember, that was that part of seeing her. So I knew I had to step up a little bit more, just because, we had to do that. But I think I kind of just listened.
Okay.
Because it's like being dropped in the middle of the desert and don't know which way to go. I mean, you're kind of like, do I walk? Do I just lay here and hopefully they find me? Like, you don't really know. So I just remember taking it in. And I remember, like, let's call my family. That's important, But I was like, my family really can't do anything right now to provide support. I've got to deal with Brody right now, who is in the PICU because they're afraid he's going to go into seizure. It was that deep of the tumor to the point where his head was tilted and the pressure on the tumor was so big, he was throwing up. And that was one of the reasons we brought him in. He couldn't hold food down. So I'm thinking to myself now deeper, he's moved to a very intense unit. There's something's got to be done. Like, what is it? And, they tried explaining through the process and the steps. So I just listened. And I just remember, like, there wasn't even questions. He was just listening. Like, what do we do? And, the action plan was very simple. It was, they need to have a surgeon who's going to be here tomorrow to perform surgery on your son. They have the surgeon and their legal team is going to meet with you because it's a high risk surgery that he may not make it, or he could not be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Blood loss. I mean, they started listing all this stuff and you're sitting like, you spoke the news to me 3 minutes ago, but I knew what they were doing. They're trying to prepare his surgery.
Yeah.
It was that serious to the point where they already had a shunt going in to give pressure. So it was at that tipping point where if he would have gone in a seizure, we could have gotten to a lot worse problems. So they were back on that action plan. And at that point, I kind of felt like a trailer being towed behind a car because I couldn't make the decisions.
Right.
And so it was, that's kind of, I think the next step was like, okay, this is here. This is what it is. My wife's not able to make anything right now, decisions or do that. So I've got to make sure I'm really alert and aware. You almost go into a protective mechanism of protecting yourself just by being aware.
Makes total sense. How quickly from that meeting in that room with all the doctors to surgery?
Within 12 hours.
Within 12 hours.
Yeah. They had, I think, 12 to 24. They called us in previously with the doctors, and our surgeons were really blessed. I mean, we were going to jump on the call and call the world's greatest surgeons, like thing you do as a family. Like, we're going to call everywhere. We'll fly to, Germany, whatever it is. But we were really lucky at Children's Hospital Orange County to have that, the surgeons there, but also they had a plan ready. Yeah. And so I trusted the plan because they prepared a plan and they talked to me about it and they had it ready. And that said a lot to me, that it wasn't like let's figure it out. So literally within the 12 hours, he went to surgery. I remember sitting downstairs. My fraternity brother drove in. I didn't ask him to, but he showed up. You find people in your family that you don't expect to show up.
Yes.
Show up, and others don't know how to handle it.
Yep, 100%.
You can't take it personal. It's just the way they are. But the people that showed up, you're kind of like, wow. I knew we were buddies, but wow, the whole family was there. We all sat in the hospital for about 3.5 to 4 hours for a 2-inch incision. It was that precise. And then I remember when the doctor came out to tell us, I'm the first guy to give him a hug. I'm the hugger. So to this day, I'm still known as the doctor hugger on there. And, he said that they got all the tumor, except they may have nicked his ear. A big deal. He's, we'll figure it out when we get there.
Right.
We're going to test the tumor now and see how aggressive it is, what's the next steps and procedures. But chances are we removed it all. They should be fine. They sent the tumor off. We waited still in recovery for about 3 or 4 days because of brain surgery for an 11-month-old baby. Breathing tubes, it's tough to see your kid like that. It really is. But you have to almost remember that, okay, you got the tumor. Okay, there's the positive. There's the mental standpoint. Mm-hmm. We've crossed a bridge. So you have to have that mindset that we've crossed it, not that we're crossing more. Tumor came back. They found out it was an ATRT, which is a rhabdoid, very aggressive tumor. And in fact, it was told it was the tumor you don't want. I'm like, great, thank you. I appreciate that. Great way to summarize the type of tumor. And then it was, now what? They removed the tumor, but the chance of it coming back is really high. So we have to, as a family, make determination to do chemo, radiation. Where do we do it? What treatment? When does he recover? And it is time sensitive because we don't know when it's going to come back. But the first blessing was the tumor's gone. And I think you talked about mentality and mindset. I always have to think about what we just accomplished and got over the bridge.
Yep.
Of what's above me. So it's like climbing the mountain. I think about that first bridge to get to the mountain. I don't think about the big mountaintop because it'll intimidate you and you can't control it. And the best advice I ever got was not even day by day, hour by hour. And I think you have to think like that because you cannot control what happens the next day. And so that's my mindset that I had to kind of come to was it was a routine. You wake up, you shower, you sit in the hospital bed, you wait. You have to keep a consistent routine to get through it or your mind will wander.
This takes on a new meaning in the Run Try Bike community and in our Everyday Athlete Clubhouse community. We often talk about being present. Be present in the moment, right? And for you and your family, like there are no other choices but to be present.
Yeah.
Because if you start to wander, the chances of you wandering into positivity land are probably less than your chances of wandering into negativity land. And so staying present in the moment had to have been one of the keys to removing as much stress and anxiety as you could. You're never going to get rid of it all in the predicament that you're in, but it would help you to at least minimize it somewhat. My sister sends you virtual hugs. I want to ask you, so you talked about support from people you didn't expect, and there were other people who don't know how to handle it, and they sort of fade away, because we did, as a family, we experienced that too with my father, and most recently with my mother too. How does PCRF come into the play as sort of that support system now?
And that's what's been so interesting is that we actually finished our treatment, 6 months of chemo, the same chemo 200-pound man would have gotten. And it was all test chemo. I hate to call it test chemo, but they don't know what it is. And then we ended up doing radiation, and we were done with this stuff. And we ran across a couple organizations that were giving us some great direction and feedback. And I remember I turned to our doctor, who became a good friend of ours, and he was saying to me, a very smart guy, like really smart. He's trying to find the XY37 chromosome, and he's talking to all these people, and he can't understand why they don't get it in the fundraising. And I said to him, that's great, the XY chromosome. I'm not that smart, but can I go tell my story as a dad and connect with people? And then you go crazy on the XY36 chromosome. Can we connect together to help people? And that's where he said, actually, I get funded by Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation. He's like, they fund my research that no one will fund. And he's ready to retire. And he told me one of my things is I want to retire. When I started cancer treatment, I started preparing kids to die. And I'm leaving this industry preparing kids to live. I was like, man, so he introduced us to the Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation and said, hey, this is a great group, and we're trying to fundraise for certain things. And once we got connected with that, we felt that the genuineness of what they're trying to do to help the kids tied into kind of the question you asked, and that is, how do you do what you need to do to help people? And more importantly, it's not just the research or the treatment that happens, it's the outside things, the mental health, the equitable care to help people that maybe don't have the means to be able to do the treatments. The depression within young adults and with kids that come off of this, it goes so much deeper. And we got introduced to Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation to help research. That's the main goal, by the way, because they can't live to have the mental problems if we can't get them there.
Right.
Now we're doing such great things with research and the help of it. Now we're worried about what is the long-term effects? What can we do in the treatments to help the children get to a better place in the link? So it's been really neat because that's how we got tied in. Now looking back, that support really wasn't there for families when I was going through this, 14 years ago, however long it was. Now we're thinking about that. Like, how do we talk to families who just got diagnosed? What can we prepare them for?
I want to ask you this question about, can I tell my story?
Yeah.
Right? Like, so what do you think was the driving force behind you raising your hand and volunteering to tell a very personal story? Is that your outgoing nature? Like, hey, I'm just a person who loves to talk to people, or is it, I don't want to have another family go through what we just went through, combination of all of this stuff?
Yeah. I think it's a little of that. We don't want people to ever go through what we went through. We hope there's a day where someone doesn't say your kid has cancer. I don't know if that day will ever come, but we're getting closer every day. And, I'm not a doctor. Probably wouldn't make it through medical school, I'll tell you that. But at the end of the day, we can help people. And I think we have an obligation. So my son Brody, I think he's watching, by the way, too. So, hey, Brody, you're out there.
Hey, Brody.
We have the responsibility to help other people. And I think that's like one thing I want to impose on him is that we're here. Yeah. Not a lot of the kids are here. And our story will not be the same as everyone else. And quite frankly, most of the stories are not. And I respect that and actually really, really honor the people that have gone through worse things than us, because I realize that. But sometimes they can't tell their story. And I can tell at least one positive story that may not be everyone's, that brings some light to people, that brings things forward, helps promote PCRF, Pediatric Cancer Foundation, bring research in there. And so over the years, we just talk to people and told them what it was about. And then eventually I joined the board on there after like 10 years of helping. I joined the board and I got to see the insight of what the board does in actually selecting the type of treatments and listening into doctors that need help with research or they're stuck. They'll write a research paper and say, I got stuck here. No one will fund it, but I'm this close.
Right.
And we get to see that and say, okay, wait a minute. No one else is going to help you on this, finish this research. What can we do? And it's been really neat to see that. And now adding in the other things we talked about, like mental health, scholarship funds, families, equitable care, these things. Now we're starting to see that we're actually affecting the community. Yeah. And it's a pretty cool thing. Research at the end of the day is our...
you are burying the lead, Jason. It's a pretty cool thing. It's a lot more than pretty cool. Oftentimes we use hyperbole in this world. Everything is amazing. Everything is, fantastic. But what you are doing as a board member at PCRF and what everybody on that team is doing, it really is amazing, because here you are waving hello to your son 14 years after a diagnosis as an 11-month-old, right? Like, pardon me, but that's, I know we're also broadcasting live on PCRF's channel, so I won't use vulgarity, but that is BS crazy. Like, that is, when you think about it, like, that is absolutely amazing to think about. And we're going to talk about fundraising here in a second, and how funds get raised and why you're on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network talking about this. So those of you who have stuck with us, we're going to get there eventually. But walk me through 14 years. Yeah. At 11 months old, Brody doesn't know what's happening, right? Can't voice what's happening. And then all of a sudden, there's these conversations that are going to be able to take place and understanding a little bit more. Can you kind of briefly, whatever it is, give us like what that's like to go from 11 months to 14 months and going through these processes and through the fundraising and seeing other families and things like that?
And that's the thing, is that you have so many different categories. You have our own journey, which is, Brody is just growing, thriving. He's gone through some of the stuff, that the side effects things, but he's doing everything he should be doing. So you have that going as your family. And then secondly, you have all the people we've met over the years that some of them have not had the same outcomes. And by the way, only, the majority of cancer diagnoses right now do not end in a very positive light, and they're getting better. And if it's not just the end tragic of death, it could be the results of treatments. and the quality of life that they have. And so we see this, and it's like we realize, wow, like we've been so grateful. I think the gratitude has a lot to do with why we do what we do and the attitude we have, because we never forget that. You know, we don't put a door in there. Oh, I think it's done. We took this journey. Cool. I wish the next journey is good for somebody. It's almost like we feel like we have to be part of this journey for us. And Brody, by the way, has incorporated talking to people. His first birthday party, we did a fundraiser with a reggae band, and we had all the money. We went back to PCRF and stuff like that. My wife's gotten involved in Children's Hospital events, and obviously, Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation. So it's like it's become a little bit of who we are. I don't want it to be Brody's identity, but I want it to be a superpower. I want it to be what gives him the strength and power in the future as he grows. But I don't want it to be an identity. And I think that's the interesting thing on our journey too, is that you have to share your story to help affect other people. And you have to be humble enough to recognize what goes on and to do it. But you also surround yourself around the people that support you and that you see are doing good for other people. And I think that's kind of like I think that's our ticket right now, is sense of like we were given a ticket to help people. We were given a ticket for a lot of things. You either can throw the ticket away or you can ride it. And I think we want to help as much as we can. That's been a big thing for us.
That's amazing. So we're here on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network because PCRF hosts a fundraiser that involves running. And were you a runner before you got involved with the fundraising aspect of it? Or did you become a runner because of the fundraising aspect of it?
This is the thing. So I was an athlete most of my life, football, soccer, baseball, competitive, all that stuff, college in there. And then when Brody got sick, I gained a lot of weight. I went through a lot of stuff on there. I might just be getting old anyway. I don't know. But it was in there. And PCRF does the run walk every year, which they're doing at IVC this year in March. And it put us in an environment that's kind of fun. And I've never run. And the only time I used to run was like getting chased on there, but I was always an athlete. I love lifting. I love that stuff. And maybe I was teasing about maybe this is a challenge for me to do a run, to overcome that. If I can do it, anyone could probably do it on there. But it's surrounded us around a lot of people in the running, in the fitness world and walking world, because they can come and give back to the community PCRF while doing something they love. And that community, I've recognized over the how many years, 10 plus years we've been doing the run walk at PCRF, to see that community.
Yeah.
And I can tell you the community itself is a very giving community. They care about what they're doing. They want to do something positive, but they also are a very supportive community.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of neat because you see this sub-community in these run and walks that we do with PCRF of the same people every year.
Yeah.
Kind of cool. So maybe this is my challenge to try to run this year. Oh no, Jason. It's and that's the thing is maybe it is a really cool thing to do, and we're really glad to be part of it. That was my favorite event of the year, just because of the energy and the environment.
Yeah, and I'm going to put up your fundraising page. So for those of you who are watching live or will be watching on YouTube, it's on the screen. If you're listening to this podcast, it'll be in the show notes, an opportunity to donate to Jason's fundraising page through PCRF to help raise funds for pediatric cancer research. It's hosted every year at the same time, and you see members of the community constantly showing up. Do you have you talked to people that show up who don't have kids, but they know the importance behind helping to raise funds for pediatric cancer research?
100%. And it's funny because the walk aspect of the run walk is very much family. Everyone can participate. It's a safe walk. They have fun. You laugh. You see that. And there's also the competitive aspect of it as well. But you see sometimes people run competitively and then walk after to be social with people and to engage and to hear the stories. But a lot of people, we work with a lot of corporate companies. We've been really blessed with PCRF to come help with them. And a lot of those people are just right out of school, professional. They love fitness. They love running.
Yeah.
And you see their passion when they show up there because they want to be part of something bigger and better. And I think that comes with a lot of the younger generation today wants to give back.
Yeah.
Be part of something. And I think the other generations that are a little older realize the severity of it and they want to be there. But we started this walk. Brody was little. He was 11 months old in the hospital. Our friends, my fraternity brother and my wife's best friend, walked it for us. There was 2 people. And we were in the hospital. And we're like, oh, cool, they're doing a walk. When we came out, we're like, we want everyone to come. And so we invited a lot of people. And every year we try to invite more and more people for the cause, but a lot of times we meet more people.
Yeah.
So it's just a great community thing, but it goes all different ways. It's for people that understand the reality of helping other people, and still doing something that makes them better, their own soul, health, fitness, being out there. And if you can do both, I think it's a really neat thing. And the community is very warm, inviting, still competitive, which is cool.
Of course.
Yeah, you have to be, but I think that's also what drives the excitement as well.
I'm interested in finding out from you, because one of the things that we here at Run Try Bike in the Everyday Athlete Clubhouse is, and it's something I'm big on saying, is like, I want to know more about you. I want to get deeper.
Yeah.
Like the question that I probably hate the most out of anything I've ever been to, whether it's dinner parties or conferences or whatever it is what do you do for a living? And I'm like, that is the least interesting thing about me.
Yeah.
And so I turn it around and I always ask people that, what do you do for fun? Because I want to get deeper and get to know them better. When you're at the walks, you're at the runs, like, it must be really fulfilling to get deeper, because everybody at this moment at these events has already taken their armor off.
Yeah.
Because if you're at the event, you know why you're there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so do you find like that opportunity to connect deeper leads to better relationships, which then leads to deeper and more meaningful conversations? And then and I'm going to say this because I know people oftentimes have a hard time asking for money.
Yeah.
But it removes that concern, like, I've got to ask for money to fundraise. But because you're hearing these stories, you've lived the story or living the story, remove that inability for some people that they have to ask for money to help fundraising.
And that's the thing, is like, I see it more of an attraction than an ask. And I think when you bring someone into that environment, everyone has a story, in the sense of people been affected by someone. I had people that walks come to me, so my grandfather had cancer, it really affected me. And that's something why they were walking. Mm-hmm. Or people come ask questions. But if you go to this walk, one of the most amazing things is there's family tents. And by the way, family tents are open to everybody. So if you guys come to the run walk, come on in. We got bagels. Like, it's a big event. You see families that come there that might have been just recently diagnosed, or they lost their child 20 years ago. Everyone's at a really different point. So the conversations that you have are so real and so addictive, but they're all different. And it's almost like you have to meet people where they are. And sometimes I've had people come and walk and they don't want to tell me their story. It's like, that's cool, man. Like, let's walk. But 6 months later, they end up opening up to telling it there. So I think it's also a community where you are obviously affected by something to be there. If it's a big heart, if it's a family situation, and you have to meet people where they are. So when it comes to fundraising, I just want to be genuine, tell the story, know it's going to a good cause to help people, helping children. Ideas powering cures. That's one of the things we want to do in the future. So whatever reason you're there, if I can connect with you because you're here, I hope that's what opens your heart up. And one of the board members used to call it Friendsgiving. He's like, I just go ask all my friends because they already like me. And it made me laugh because I'm the young member on the board. And when I came in, and he's like, that's how I do it. I'm like, that's really true, because I want my friends to. I'm not afraid to ask my friends, but come on, dude, don't be cheap. It's my new car. Come on, it's for the kids. But I think the attraction is the key for people that may not really understand what we do and why it's there. So I try to always leave that open heart, like open door.
Yep.
People.
It's so I'm adding the link to the bottom again, so people can see it as it scrolls without hiding your face as you're telling your story. How many do you know? How many people show up to the Run Walk event that is held in March? And give us some details: when, where, time, everything.
So it was about 5,000 people on the watch, which is unbelievable.
That's awesome.
It's so cool. And, part of that energy level is there's the corporate sponsorships where people can come there and promote their businesses. There's the family of the walk. There's the run. There's all the different categories. There's a kids play center for like the kids stuff. They try to make it family friendly. I've gone to a lot of events for cancer. I've spoken at some that are very dark. And understandably, like, I've spoken at some night walks before where I'm like, man, I'm really depressed after this. It's like the energy here is very much positive. It's family friendly. It's people friendly. It's just something where you can come there and feel good when you leave. And then the theme this year is walk with your superheroes. It was capes and it's encouraged to have fun. So you can dress up, you can do it. There's kids there. This is the whole idea of it.
Yeah.
It's, there's the 10K, the 5K, the free 5K walk. So there's no charge if you want to come. And for years, Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation charged for that because we had to for the event, but we found out we want to get people who may not have the means or the understanding of anything out here.
Yeah.
Let's get them believers, let's get them on a team, let's spread the word, let's make them part of the family. And then there's a 1K kids run, which is Brody used to do it. He's too big now. He's in high school. He's just freshman year.
Not too big to wear a cape though.
I rock a cape. Come on. You can join a team, you can be individual. The teams really are, and I was having this talk with some of the directors here at Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation. I love to support our team and promote Team Brody. The end goal is the kids. The end goal is the organization. So if you come as an individual, come as an individual. If you come as Team Brody, we hope we get you shirts. We hope we get you things in there. We want to make you feel like part of the family when you come in, because we are grateful, because we've been through a journey, we know we can help others.
Yeah.
And so we don't want to really stop there. So that's kind of our journey of this run walk. It's just a great event. And, athlete wise for athletes, it's very competitive, which is fun. And they take it serious.
Yeah.
And even, the pre-stretching and the vendors and the things like that are all very centric to athletes. So it's really neat to see that too on there.
And what's the date? March?
All right. March 22nd, 2026. So that means when I start training, Jason, should I start running now? Because I got a lot of weight to lose.
I wouldn't start running right now. I would start walking right now.
I'll start walking.
I mean, you said you go to the gym, so don't skip the gym. For all you runners that are listening, go to the gym. Strength training helps.
Send me some ideas or tips, guys. So it'd be a cool thing, something to say I can accomplish that I didn't think I can accomplish. You talked a lot about mindset too, and that's one of the things for the mindset is, I think sometimes the worst thing that happened to you isn't really the worst thing.
Yeah.
It would be your biggest motivator.
I have to imagine too, right, that the people that are coming there to do the free 5K walk get deeply connected to families, to stories, and either start fundraising or keep coming back year after year just because of the warm embrace that is happening at this event, despite the stress and the anxiety and the struggle and the worry and all the negative things that would be accompanying a scenario in which you find that your child has cancer. So I commend PCRF for getting people involved, because even if they don't know what they don't know yet, they're going to be welcomed, and that's going to create an environment where you want to help others.
Yeah. When you start the run walk down the middle of the way, there's a bunch of flags, and it's the children's flags, it's the kids, and some of them will say in memory of, and some will be in honor of. It's like, sometimes I look up there, I'm like, oh man, like that flag wasn't in honor of anymore. It's in memory. Yeah. And so you see that, you're like, oh shit. But I think it's a reminder too of like the journey that we're going on. And then you also see others. We were just talking about a young man named Ian that when I first came on, he was like 14. He's getting his pilot license right now. He's a pilot. And it's like, no way. Like you see this. So I think it's really neat to see that, we're celebrating people, celebrating children, the goals. And one thing we were drawn to Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation, because there's a lot of great groups out there and a lot of great organizations, and we're involved in a lot, is what they try to do is the research was the initial foundation of everything, because only 4% of cancer funds go back to children. 4%.
Wow.
Yeah. And I asked someone this, why is that? Because adults are more likely to fund their own type of cancer when it happens to them, and children can't. People don't want to admit that children get cancer.
Yeah.
People don't want to talk about it. Like, you want to talk about someone's dark cloud, like they'll dodge you. Like, well, kids don't get that, because it is very sad. It's something you don't want a child to go through. Like, they have a big life in front of them. So I think people do shut down when it comes to talking about donations for children, because it is emotional. But there's a lot of other great cancer organizations out there. But I think a lot of them, the people that are getting diagnosed, have the money to donate.
Yeah.
And children don't. So they need people like us. They need people like the viewers out there and people to do that, because they don't have a voice, and someone needs to. So our goal is to keep that above 4% in the future and make sure that all that 4% goes to the right places.
I think just talking about it, because that's a shockingly low number.
Yeah.
That is a shockingly low number. And I get it. People don't want to face the realities of children having cancer and families whose children have cancer. I understand it.
Yeah.
But just because you turned a blind eye to it doesn't mean it stops existing. Like that doesn't, it's not reality. And so if we can talk about it more, and I don't know that our goal is to make you feel comfortable, but our goal is to make you aware that this is a scenario that has to be addressed. You can't keep turning away from it. On your sheet of paper in front of you, is there a number that says how much money PCRF has raised?
I can ask real quick and see.
Yeah, please do. Come on the screen if you don't mind.
$63 million since conception, and I think we've been founded. I know in the 80s is when it's like 1982 is when we were founded, and it really started with the need for research. And it's amazing to hear that number, because it's like, whoa, that's like really cool,
And
really
here's
cool.
the thing I want to emphasize, right? So there's somebody out there who is saying to themselves, I can only donate $5, but do you know how many $5 donations have happened since the 80s to get to 63 million, right? It wasn't like somebody showed up one day with a check and stroked a $62 million check, and then there was only $1 million that was raised from every other resource out there over the last 30, 40 years. Like every dollar counts. And I can tell you this, I say this knowing, one, that we have just sponsored an athlete to race at the Every Woman's Marathon in November. And that athlete would not have had the chance to go there if it wasn't for our donation. And it's not in the thousands of dollars. We recently had Alex Barker on our podcast, who is fundraising for St. Jude because his wife died of cancer. And he talks about, if you donate $1, that's one less dollar that I have to worry about. And I want to say that, and I want to emphasize, like, if you have the means to donate tens of thousands of dollars, please do so. If you have, $5 and you want to donate it, please do that too. Don't think that anything is too small to donate, I guess is what I'm getting at.
And you're 100% right. And what really drew us to the Pediatric Cancer Research Foundation was that it was built off of small groups of people getting together for something good. It's not a big corporate driver. If you look at our donations, because I've got a rearview mirror here on the board, it's not from big corporate donors. Now, a lot of corporations step up and they help us. And they're usually family corporations or people who have been affected that were involved in athlete type work. It's really the small donation, and any little bit adds up to go to someone, and whatever you can give from your heart is all that anyone can ever ask, because it says more than the person that's not giving. And I challenge that to just whatever someone's comfortable with. It's for the kids.
Yeah.
And it's for PCRF, and this is what we're built off of, is a bunch of smaller donations that people that came together and became very powerful. And you can't say that for a lot of organizations.
I as you were talking, it dawned on me that earlier in the conversation, you said you became a member of the board. When did you become a member of the board?
I'm probably about 3 years in for the board.
Okay.
And this is the coolest part behind it is I'm just an average guy. I'm a small business owner. I'm a dad. I'm just the guy. I'm not run those groups of high galas, but this board is not. And what really grew me about this board was that many of them were affected personally, with family, their own kids, or they have a big heart. Not all of them are parents.
Yeah.
Not all of them are cancer survivors. The majority of on there somehow had an affected with someone in probably a pediatric cancer, and they're here for that reason. So when we make decisions, the decisions we're making is because we've been through some of the similar things, or it actually affects us. And that's what was so cool about the board, is it's the most diverse group of people. And I'm working with PCRF right now to try to do a video YouTube podcast on telling the story of the board. I want people to know why they're here. We're not some mystical unicorn in the back closet. They really are people who want to help kids, and we question everything because we want to make sure it's done right. And so it's really neat because it's such a span of different people. And that's how I got tied into the board. Was I guess I never left. I kept showing up for volunteering stuff. Someone to check you and sell raffle tickets, whatever you need, And so I think they saw my heart, like a servant's heart, was kind of there with it. And there's the one organization that meant a lot to me was this. And even my own company, I donate a portion of sales of all my business back to them. I didn't market it for years because I want people to think I was a cheese ball, but we did.
Yeah.
And that's important to me.
Brody, is he free and clear?
So he's 14 years old, just had a scan last week. His MRI cleared, free, cancer free, no cancer. So unbelievable.
When was the diagnosis, or is this the first diagnosis of being free and clear, or has he had free and clear before?
He's had it every year. So the craziest part, we were diagnosed Friday the 13th, January.
Tell me and your name is Jason?
Yeah, see, I mean, come on. It's like you couldn't write this. He was 11 months old. We did scans for 6 months, every 6 months up to a couple of years ago, and now we're yearly. And the cancer never came back. Their big concern is secondary cancers, leukemias, blood diseases, expansion. Mm-hmm. So that's why we do the scan still. He's not really in remission because the type of cancer he has hasn't been studied enough to where we know when to stop. Okay. And that was one of the scary things when they told us that we don't have the data to know if kids have lived past 18, because they've never really studied specifically narrow types of cancer. They used to study cancer was cancer, and they would treat it all the same way. So now as we're finding out more about cancer and the research behind it, they can actually be more defined on the type of treatment to your specific type of cancer. So the answer right now is he'll probably get scans till he's in his 20s, or until the doctor tells us otherwise. His mom wants him like every year. We need it because she has anxiety. I do too. But now we go in there. We know that we're looking for no other cancers that were clear, and he's cancer free. So, we just play it year by year of going for our scans, but we live that year until we get there.
Yep.
And the days before that, we just go down there and we switch the switch. We go into that mode. And we try to keep very positive and not think about every time he throws up or gets sick, because that's what kids do.
Yeah.
That's linked to it, but it's a natural thing as a parent. Every time they throw up or get sick, you think it's something else there.
Did you come up with a new word, or did I mishear you? Did you say scanxiety?
Like anxiety. Okay, so these mom groups, these cancer mom groups, I'll tell you, man, they create their own words, and that's part of the support system. Is that we can say that scanxiety, and other moms are like, "That's like, oh yeah, I get it," and so you'll see it happen where they go into a high anxiety point about 2-3 weeks before. I've met parents in the hospital that lose it before the scans of the stuff. Like, and I say lose it, you can see mentally just the big challenges on there. So definitely scanxiety is a word used.
It's amazing. This is one of the reasons why I don't think I'm a great podcast host, because we try to keep these shows to a certain amount of time, but I have so many questions. So this idea that Brody has been free and clear, but you go through the scans once a year, and you've stayed involved with PCRF to the point where you joined the board 3 years ago, like, that says so much about you. Do you understand that? Like I'm sure you've probably had family and friends say, why are you still involved? Like, why are you keep doing these things? You only have to take him in for scans once a year. Like, why do you keep doing it? But the fact that you keep doing it, Jason, says so much about who you are as a person.
And I think it's a lot of like back to gratitude. I think it really is back to gratitude. And I think, you have to, if you take something in life, I think you have to give it back. And I think that's part of like how you have to look at everything. And it's funny because like when he was like young and cute and little, like 4 years old, 5, like we'd have the people to walk.
By the way, Brody, you're still young and cute.
You're still young and cute, man. You're a high schooler, dude. You're a student high schooler. And it was like, oh, he was the cute little kid. So people come for the walk. And as he got older, we found a lot of our friends and stuff like that. It was like, oh, well, cool. Like, whatever, have fun at the walk. And so I think keeping that mentality of like why we're doing it is important over the years too. And I hope for him that he continues to do it. Like I said, his first birthday was awesome, man. We weren't planning on that, but we had a keg. We had all this stuff. Like, we threw a party, and all the money went back to PCRF. Billabong, donate some stuff. Like, it was really cool. But I think that mentality of like, can we still incorporate this to help people and still do things that we want to do is something I'd like to do. And I don't always lead with the cancer card. I was telling my wife and I this, like, people find our story, they've known me for years, never known. But I do think when there's an opportunity to share it for the right venue and the right people, I always try to. But anyone that knows me personally, I don't like the recognition. Sometimes you laugh, like my company stuff for 3 years only, we were donating, and people are like, you should probably tell people. I'm like, you sure? Like, you don't want to think the wrong reason.
Yeah, let's talk about this for a minute, Jason. Like, that is wild to me. Yeah. Like, the idea that you didn't want to feel cheesy in saying that portions of your sales and proceeds are going to help raise funds. Like, why? Like,
yep. I didn't want people to think I was doing it for that motivation. And it sounds really funny. Yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
So the idea was, I don't want people to think I'm selling them and using this wild card and tugging on their heartstrings to generate sales.
Yeah, that was like my thing. It's just my nature of it. Like, I don't want people to think that, but when it came down to it, I'll talk to one of my best friends. He's like, Jason, it's like, you genuinely love this organization. You genuinely want to help the kids. You have to, it's like, you need to tell people. Yes. And that's what got me with PCRF was like, I need to tell more of the right people. And so we did an Executive for Kids program where we went out and challenged other executives to step up for kids.
Yeah.
And not only the executives step up, but we want them to tell everyone in the company that I'm stepping up for kids right now as an executive of a company. I believe in what they're doing, and I'm going to raise my hand as an executive and put my own money out. And this is what it means to me. And that's kind of how it started with the conversation was they're like, Jason, other executives out there care as much as you do. And I hope they don't have that same feeling you have. And so that's how we got into the Executive for Kids program that I got to help, team up with PCRF this year and challenge. And I'm not shy to call executive corporate people and be like, hey, man, my kids, come on. Like, you know what? We're down the street from you. We're trying to help people. And then you'll hear the story.
I mean, I teach marketing at the college level, and I ask students this all the time, especially those who want to be entrepreneurs. I ask them, do you know what McDonald's does? Do you know what their business is? And they say, yeah. I said, if they stopped advertising today, would you know what they did tomorrow? And they say, yeah, of course. And I said, so why do you think that they keep telling you that they sell hamburgers? And they're like, well, because it probably generates more sales. I'm like, yes, right? Like, yeah, correct. So Jason, like, you got to tell people. You got, right? Like, if nobody's going to know to donate if we don't keep telling them to donate.
And that's kind of Morgan's in here with me too. Morgan's part of the PCF crew here. She's we've become friends over the years. And she was the one who challenged me, like, Jason, you can connect with other executives, other business owners, and have a conversation with them. Yeah. And just let them know. By the way, a lot of great things have come from also this too. And so that's the thing. But I think also great people have come from it.
Yeah.
And I think you surround yourself around good people in the work environment, in the fitness environment, the mentality environment, and you're only as great as the 5 people around you. But this is how you can get out there and find that. And, don't be a secret agent, hide back. But I think as long as the intention is right from the heart, and you do it right, I think it could be used that way. And it's been a challenge, but I'm excited to see everything work out.
I couldn't agree more. Like one of the things that I am so lucky to have done is start this company. And look, it's not unicorns and rainbows every day. But the thing is, the beauty comes in who I get to talk to, right? Like, I had no idea who Jason O'Donnell was until a few months ago when I'm talking to Morgan, and I had no idea who Morgan was a few months ago, but only because I talked to Scott Millman, who introduced me to Morgan. And because I talk to people and keep talking to people and keep talking to people, do I get to put myself in this situation where I can then say, yes, I would be happy to have Jason O'Donnell on the Fireside Chat to talk about PCRF and to talk about the fundraiser March of next year and help raise funds for PCRF, the Pediatric Children's Research Foundation. That doesn't happen unless we're talking to people, right? Like, if we lived in our box, this doesn't happen.
Yeah. And that's the craziest thing about today with social media and with live streams and with this is that you can have real content with real people that doesn't have to be on an NBC or big news channel it's a genuine conversation between people of communities that have like minds. Yeah. And the community that you've created is a community of people that have the same views and like minds of helping people just like we are, but we're different worlds of the planet, but we're really not. And that's what's so cool about this is that I think this has expanded a relationship for new people to find out about PCRF and vice versa, find out about, the athlete mindset and the things like that too. It's so cool. And it feeds off each other. And this wouldn't have happened 20 years ago, 10 years ago.
My sister's trying to confuse me. She was on Facebook. She's now on Instagram. And she's asking, because we mentioned Orange County, California for PCRF, but does PCRF have chapters around the country? Because she would like to donate and volunteer if possible.
That's cool. Yes. And this is the coolest thing. PCRF is nationally, we're internationally, but nationally throughout there. We started up even sub-programs. For example, there's Lacrosse Out Cancer. And it was someone who had a passion for lacrosse came and challenged hitting the wall balls for these athletes and donated money. And we do that all throughout the country. They do a basketball dribble, even in Duke University. So throughout the country,
lives in North Carolina, so perfect.
That's it. And they do a dribble. So they bring all the basketball players out, the kids, and they do a sponsorship dribble. So we've expanded now more than what was originally started, which was literally one doctor looking for research when I looked at the history, to now we're across the whole country so people can get involved, can donate. And on our website too, we have a lot of the events. If they sign up on there too for other events that we do, but we are throughout the whole country now. And it's really cool because it's been vehicles of people that have created that. It wasn't PCRF like going out there putting a stake in the ground. It was people that said, I love what we stand for. I love lacrosse. How do we put that together? And it's been really neat to see that. On there, one of our board members, John Valley, is a very well-known basketball coach. Used to work with Coach Wooden, and he's cool because he broke through that basketball barrier of helping with the dribble.
Yeah,
and it's just neat seeing your relationships to connect out so other people can help. So that's the answers. We love help. We love support. Volunteering, whatever we could do is greatly appreciated.
That's awesome. And we'll put the link for PCRF up on the website when we post it, and we'll drop it into the show notes as well, because I'm guessing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that it will also drive people to multiple events and multiple locations that they can do their research on the website too, correct?
100%. And you'll find something that really resonates with you. That's what's cool. If you love basketball and you want to help out, that's a great thing. Or lacrosse, I think that's so cool that if it's running, if it's that, there's so many ways that you can do what you love and still do something positive. And it might help you get a little extra pep in the step. Not a heel strike though, right? Because I'm still learning that, because I'm now going to be a new runner, Jason. So I'm
gonna dispel this rumor right now, because I am a heel striker. I have been running for 18 years, 0 injuries. I have run multiple marathons. I've run 800 milers. I'm running one this weekend. I've run a 250-mile event. Like, if your form is your form, and you want to correct it and try to land more midfoot, great, but don't overextend it. If you're a heel striker, you're a heel striker. Just enjoy the run.
I almost drove 250 miles last week, so there we go. But no, it's really great to see this and to see your support and everything too. We're grateful for it too. So thank you.
We always wrap up with rapid fire food questions, and I don't know why I call them rapid fire. It's just something we started 5 years ago, or however long we've been doing this, and it hasn't changed. But if you take a moment to think about it, more than welcome to.
All right.
And I'd also like for you to chime in with Brody's answers as well.
Oh, let's see this. All right.
All right. So in this house and within the Run Try Bike community, we are huge Oreo fans. Are you more of an old school Oreo, the double stuff Oreo, the mega stuff Oreo, the thin Oreo, or the cake store Oreo?
You gotta keep it original. I'm an OG.
Yeah.
You gotta keep it original with the milk, and you gotta dip it in there. I think
so. You're a dipper.
I'm a dipper with the original. I think Brody's the same, man, because he takes after his old man.
So do you go one dip and then the whole cookie in the mouth? Do you go one dip bite? Like, what's the
get soggy? You got to get it soggy. Come on, and then you go for the whole bite. You got to have a little dribble in there so you can drink the milk when you're done.
So years ago, we had Jason Fitzgerald on the podcast, and he said his routine is he takes the first cookie out of the package and drops it in the glass of milk, so that it just gets disintegrated by the end, so that when he drinks it, it's like a cookies and cream rush at the end. I am an OG fan myself, but I don't use milk. I pop them like aspirin. Like, the whole cookie is going in, yeah. We had a discussion last week, because the new packaging, it has that like peel back.
Mm-hmm. You open them up.
Yeah, right. Are you a fan of that new peel back, or would you rather have the box?
I like the box. You have to try to awkwardly cram it back in the plastic.
Because here's the thing with that peel back. It's cool that it reseals, but that first cookie is impossible to get out.
That's it. It's hidden in the side there.
Yeah, and the ones in the corners, like, you can't get to them.
You have the accomplishment of pulling it out and seeing what you did.
Yeah, come on, Mondelez, let's fix this. We have an ownership stake in a company called RTB Awards, and our master craftsman woodworker, Joe, we're going to petition him to create like little tongs or clippers so that we can grab that first cookie out without breaking everything. Favorite chocolate candy is?
Oh, wow, man. You know what's funny? You're going to laugh right now, but recently it's been barbell protein bars.
Okay.
And so we're trying to get Brody more on the way from the sugar onto the other stuff, and we've been doing that. But I think old school's candy bars probably got to go Snickers on the old school. But we've been really trying to get myself and Brody together on more protein-based stuff that tastes good, and haven't really missed sugar for a while on there. But yeah, Snickers, man. If you have to.
I have a huge sweet tooth, so all of this is going to be surrounding candy and ice cream, pal. You want to eat broccoli? Do it on your own show. Favorite non-chocolate candy?
Ooh, Reese's doesn't count because there's chocolate on there.
That's chocolate.
Jolly Ranchers, you got to go with the watermelon though.
Watermelon Jolly Rancher.
You got to go with the watermelon. So
most people go sour apple, but that's a good answer.
Well, how dare they?
So somebody in your family or somebody in a friend's family has the candy bowl on the in the living room. You're already laughing because you know what I'm talking about. And there's usually a butterscotch. There's usually the swirl mint, and there's usually the strawberry hard candy with like that gel that's in the middle there. Which one of those three are you taking out of the candy bowl?
So I'm going to throw something back at you. It doesn't matter because you're stuck on the plastic couch because they're plastic couches wrapped in my grandmother's. If they got the butterscotch and that stuff, I can already tell you that couch you only sit on in the holidays and it's wrapped in plastic. You just describe my grandmother's candy bowl.
Yes, you're a child of the 70s and 80s too, aren't you?
No, but it doesn't have to be the butterscotch. You got to go for it. But you just made me think back of some really big carpet and some really ugly.
Yes.
Yeah.
The one candy I don't put into that bowl, if you remember, Brock's made that caramel square.
Yep. Yeah, that doesn't count.
Right? Like that, a dentist invented that thing. There's no doubt, right? We're coming up on Halloween by the time we broadcast this, which is on the 29th, it'll be 2 days from then. Candy corn. Is candy corn a real candy, or is it just earwax covered in sugar?
It's decoration for kids on the paper for the holiday stuff. So yeah, no, it's I don't think it's real candy. I think it's just a wax.
What's your take on Peeps?
You know what? You gotta love the Peeps, man, especially in the holiday. But you only get to eat them the first time, and not they go really hard, and you kind of get all crusty. But my daughter loves the Creeps, so they're not the Peeps, but the Creeps. So
I was once. I am not a Peep fan, and those who have listened to the show long enough know. But I was once told that if you let them get stale, they're better. And my first reaction was, so you want me to take something that's bad, make it worse, and somehow it tastes better? Like, I don't think so.
No, you just throw them on the ground and just crack the tile.
Your kids are young. They probably might love this. If you get Peeps, I've been told, if you get Peeps and you put toothpicks in their beaks and you put them in the microwave, as they blow up, and it's called peep jousting. So they look like they're actually like jousting each other.
Is this a thing? If I type that in on my feed, is something bad pop up?
Look, I was told this. I didn't research it. Don't do it on a company computer.
No, definitely not. My daughter's 11, and she would dig that. And in fact, her name is Finley, which is named after Dr. Jonathan Finley, who was my son's oncologist.
Oh, what a great tie-in.
It's a crazy tie back to the crazy guy I was telling you that had all the X540 chromosomes. So I got to try the Peep thing with her because she'll do it with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Do that with your daughter. That'd be awesome. Hi, Finley, if you're watching.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll finish the conversation with this last food question. A tray of brownies has come out of the oven. It is sitting on the counter long enough that you can actually cut into it without ruining it. Are you going corners? Are you going edge, or are you going into the middle for the ooey gooey?
Oh, middle ooey gooey. Come on, you got to go.
Straight in.
It's still warm. It's still warm.
Are you going straight in and leaving the edges for somebody else to grab?
You can get the crust edges. So,
Are you a coffee drinker?
I am.
All right. So maybe you've done this, maybe you haven't, but this is my favorite way to enjoy a brownie and coffee. So take your ooey gooey, plop it into a coffee mug, then put coffee ice cream, preferably Talenti, because it is the best coffee ice cream I've ever had. And as the ice cream melts into the brownie, you end up getting like this wonderful mocha flavor.
Oh,
cannot be beat.
Man, it's he got me. You were a foodie.
Jason, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the Fireside Chat. It was great to get to know your story. I'm honored that PCRF would ask us to have this show and be able to share your URL, which is on the screen again, so that people can make donations. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with? No, just thank you too, for sharing your community and for sharing the people like that, and letting us be able to spread the word for more. And I just appreciate and grateful for it. And it was wonderful talking with you too. Now I'm gonna go have some Oreos. Yeah, perfect. Have a great one. I'll see you. See you, Jason.